Hi everyone, so today I'm doing another painting in my spring/Easter series, and this one is of a rabbit. So in this series I'll be using the Winsor & Newton calligraphy inks. This one I use pink or carmine, or maybe they're the same colour, I don't remember. I'll put it in the description though. And I use the Daveliou Watercolours, Rowney Aquafine paper, and just loads of brushes. This one's a Royal and Langnickel one. And then I also do a little bit of the Faber Castell Polychromos on the top. So at the moment I'm just doing a base layer of brown on this rabbit, and then I start adding some hair-like strokes in very kind of transparent washes of brown to really build up a fur texture. I've stretched my watercolour paper onto a tile with gummed tape, and if you'd like to know how to do that, I do have a video on it, so I'll link that in the cards. I find that it makes watercolour painting way easier. It makes the final piece look way more professional because it's flat, and it also makes doing washes easier because the paint isn't pooling in any of the wrinkles of the paper. And then gum tape you can't peel off, so you have to use a scalpel and a ruler just to cut it off the tile, and then that means that it's not quite A4, which is what the size of my original piece of paper is, but that's okay because if you were to frame it, for example, you can just put a little mount in there. So I'm kind of establishing some of my darks before I go in with my midtones, just so I know how dark I need to work. I've got a reference image, well, I've got a couple. As I always do, I never really copy one photo. Very rarely, because there's very rarely a photo that I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I wanted to do. So I combine loads. I got the position from one picture, I got the hair from another, that kind of thing. But yeah, I got my reference image from Logfile as usual, which is just a website that has photos that you can use for pretty much any use other than reposting them completely unedited. So you could use them for like collage, you can use them as reference for painting, you can do pretty much anything with them. That's where I get most of my reference images from, because I know there's no issues with copyright. And there are tons of photos on there anyway, so because I'm fine with mixing photos together. In fact, I prefer to do that than just copy one, so it's ideal for me. Just adding in some like diluted black in the very deep areas. And it's very important to get your kind of shadows in a fur texture, because if you don't do that, the animal will look really flat, even though you've got a ton of texture on there. If it's all the same kind of colours of the whole thing, then it won't look like a 3D object. Not that I'm doing realism by any means, but I still don't want my drawing to look flat. You can see I've got my heat gun to the side there. I just use that to dry any layers of watercolours that haven't dried yet and I want to paint over. Using a nice fine brush just to get all the little hair strokes in there. As you can just see, I probably can't see anymore, but I did an outline of the rabbit with a brown Col-Erase, and then I did the outline of the egg in the background with a pink Col-Erase to match the ink that I will be using. The way I do these is I sketch digitally most of the time. It's just so much easier because, for example, say you draw like the head too small. If you did that on paper, you'd have to rub out the entire head, whereas digitally you can literally just expand the head. So it saves a lot of time, it makes it a lot easier, and it makes it easier to get the proportions right. But so I sketch digitally, I flip the image, then print it, I go over it with my Col-Erase, then I put it upside down on my stretched watercolour paper and just colour over the back with a HB pencil. That will really lightly transfer the colour, which is great because I don't want dark outlines, because I don't want this to look outlined, but also I don't want indents in the paper where the pencil has been because the watercolour will settle there. So I get it really lightly transferred, then I go over it lightly just to make sure all the lines are complete. I know exactly where I'm going. And then that's it, that's how I transfer everything for my watercolour pieces. It just gives a nice, subtle, soft outline, doesn't leave any indents on the paper, and doesn't mean I'm going to destroy the paper rubbing out my sketch loads if I don't get it great first time, because I'm doing it digitally, I don't need to sketch onto this paper. And because I stretch it and it's on a tile, I can't use a light box to transfer it like I would with my marker drawings. To be honest, I don't own transfer paper or tracing paper or anything like that, so I just use a normal piece of paper that I've literally just the print out. And that works fine for me. So now I'm working on that ink background. This time I didn't splatter ink over my piece, which was good. I really love the vibrancy of these inks that Winsor & Newton do. I definitely want to get some more colours. I currently own 5 of them. I have white, blue, purple, pink or carmine, I can't remember a bit. And then I have nut brown. Oh, I also have gold, so that's 6. Yeah, I love them and I want them all. They're pretty cheap as far as inks go as well, so definitely not bad. I probably will end up getting a decent amount more sometime in the future. I just used one brush for this so that I didn't get too uneven of a colour from the drying. So I got a brush that could do big areas but also has a decent point, so it's good for getting around the rabbit. Just rotating the actual tile so that I don't smear my hand through any of the ink that hasn't dried yet. Now I'm adding pencil, and as you can see I added the pink pencil on top of the ink, which I did last time with the purple, and this pink made the ink look really grey, so I rubbed it all out and just used it around the very edges where I'd like slightly just not gotten in there enough. So mostly I'm only really using the pencil on the fur of the rabbit, just adding in even more fur texture, helping some blending slightly. But I really didn't put much pencil on this piece at all. Then I'm just using the white Uniball Signo gel pen to do the highlight in the eye, and then I use the pink pencil that I didn't end up using over the ink to sign the edge. So that is the final piece. I hope you liked it. Next week's video will be the final piece of this series of spring paintings. So subscribe to see that next Sunday, and thank you so much for watching.